I saw him on Tuesday, November the 30th.
What was the occasion of that?
Well, I had talked to Mr. Lavender. We conferred quite often, and he was by my house before the office opened. And he left me to go on this business trip. And that was the last time that I had seen him.
Is it usual for Mr. Lavender to take $9,000 in cash on a business trip with him?
Well, I had never personally observed him doing that, but I know at times he had picked up large sums of cash in business transactions.
When did you start getting worried about him?
Well, we started getting worried on Thursday when we didn't have any telephone conversation with him. And it was a little unusual for him to go over 2 days without calling into the office and checking.
And you went to the police when?
Went to the police on Friday after we found the car.
And you found the car at Love Field?
No, Mr. McAlpin and Ms. Lavender found the car. I was searching in another area looking for him, and I was on my two-way radio, and they notified me the car had been found, so I went immediately to Love Field.
What was your initial reaction when you heard that there were bloodstains in the trunk?
Well, my initial reaction is there was something terribly wrong, and that there must have been something happened to him. Of course, I was in a state of shock, for one thing.
And you're convinced that he is gone now?
Well, I'm convinced to the extent that there is something terribly wrong.
This is the Roosevelt Heights area of Dallas. The flooding you see here is nothing new. Some citizens who have lived here for some time says they've seen it flood as many as 15 times in the last 20 years. One citizen said, Dallas is the all-American city. That is, until you get to Roosevelt Heights, and then it's like the stepchild that you want to hide in the back room when company comes. Another resident of the area, Mr. Leon Ross, says he's been here 20 years. I talked with him.
The city fixed up Upper White Rock, which made it more difficult for water to get, made water harder made water faster in getting in here. And now we have got tired and fed up on this water project. The money's going for everything but to help the poor people. And in this area, I think we need more money appropriated for any of it is in Dallas, because we are being hit the hardest. We have $5 million, which they want to put in the music hall, which doesn't help the poor people at all.
One elected official, Senator Oscar Mosey, came out at the request of some of the residents to survey the damage. I also talked with him. Senator, do you feel that the city of Dallas has been lackadaisical in their responsibility to the citizens of Roosevelt Heights?
Yes, I do, and it's particularly paradoxical to me that the city could spend the money that they did to condemn the homes of the homeowners in Fair Park, to extend a parking lot, but at the same time not seek to spend any money to build a levee system to help protect the homes that are presently existing right here.
Charges ranging from feet dragging by the city to a lackadaisical responsibility has been leveled by the residents of the Roosevelt Heights area. They now say that they're going to band together to get something done about this situation. Gene McIntyre in Roosevelt Heights for Channel 8 News on the Move.
The papers have carried stories which agree with my position that 8 of the 13 members were appointed with predisposed opinions, preconceived ideas, and I think that they were appointed because of those preconceived ideas. And I don't think that's the kind of committee that the people of Dallas want. The sign issue may be insignificant compared to issues that we'll have in the future, and I think that the people of Dallas don't want their livelihood or those of their neighbors being legislated against by a committee appointed with preconceived ideas. It might trample on this man's liberty this time and another man's the next.
The rapid development of the community, though, and especially the North community, dictated that we build another store. Our Preston store is cramped now, and our customers have asked us to build a store farther north. The highway situation with the LBJ offering the ready access makes this location at Valley View an ideal one.
Well, I assess that we have a pretty fine club right at this, up to this date, Jerry. We're on first place by 5 points this early in the year, and I'm very, very satisfied with our club. They played extremely well for the exception of 3 games, and they're going to have these type of games occasionally with a lot of our young players, and especially our young defense. But basically, they're all working very, very hard. They're in very good shape, and their desire and attitude is very, very good.
What will be the toughest part of the season for you?
Well, I think we're right in the toughest part of the season. We're in first place. It's always hard to get there, but once you're there, it takes an awful lot of hard work and good play on their part to stay there. And we play a few more games on the road than we do at home at this stage of the game, so therefore we have our work cut out to stay in first place. But if we survive and are in first place by the middle of January or the near end of January, the schedule favors us, and we have an excellent chance to remain in first place.
With good fortune as you've had with 2 young goalies along with Kenny Brown, the name Guil Malash, is that just a name out of the past now as far as you're concerned?
Well, no, I'm still very sad that we lost a good young goaltender like this, because he would have been the key to our success this year. But I'm very happy with Kenny Brown and Michel Dumas and Bullock. They did their share on the team, so as everybody else, and this is a team game, and without them we'd be nowhere, and without the rest of the players we'd be nowhere. So this is really our success. Our scoring indicates this. It's spread right throughout, and we don't have anybody up in the top 5, but this is the way I like it. A balanced scoring attack and a good defense and adequate goaltending.
Contestant in this case was awarded a half point. The opponent, David, is signal submission.
In 1956, Nikita Khrushchev told the United States that the Soviet Union would bury us. Well, they may never get the chance to even try, simply because we're on the way to being buried by our own paperwork. The interstate highway system, for example, costs approximately $15 billion more than it should, just as a result of construction delays due to paperwork. Another example, one new federal requirement may add up to 18 million pages of paper a year to federal highway projects. That would make a pile of paper 1.5 miles high. If all those papers were laid end to end, they would reach from Fort Worth to Europe. Assuming that someone is going to have to fill out all those pages, the resulting cost is staggering. Those are a few of the findings of a Congressional Public Works Subcommittee looking into the proliferation of government red tape. The chairman of that committee is Representative Jim Wright.
Just give you a little illustration. About 5 years ago, at the beginning of the Economic Development Program, a typical grant to a community would be backed up by about this much paperwork 5 years ago.
Yeah.
Now, it requires approximately this much paperwork to justify an average grant to a community or a loan to a small businessman under the EDA project. Under the programs by which small communities apply for aid in sewage treatment works, it usually requires approximately this much paperwork today, which is about 5 times as much as it did 7 years ago. Several states have estimated that 1/3 of their total manpower time for their health departments is spent in filling out forms. And these are people who otherwise could be doing more important things, such as monitoring the operation of sewage plants and testing the effluent and improving them.
The cost of building a highway with federal help is already estimated to be about 30% higher than building the same road without aid. It seems that if the trend continues, the states will no longer be able to afford assistance from the government. Jay Lewis, Channel 8 News on the Move, at the Federal Building in Fort Worth.
The name Robert Medrano is a household word as it relates to the poverty program. What are some of Robert Medrano's other ambitions in life?
First of all, I'm currently trying to get I'm working on my PhD degree at SMU in public administration. First of all, my education is one of my goals, to accomplish as much education as I can. The second thing is hopefully that I can work as a grassroots individual. The plights that I've been through is to bring about some types of institutional change, working within the system in a nonviolent, pacified, working within the system.
Last Friday, we heard from Mr. Curtis, who is director of the American Automobile Association, present his side of the case, which is opposing the Turnpike Authority. The Turnpike Authority has asked us for a resolution supporting their stand for a study to see if it's feasible to build a toll road between Fort Worth and Dallas.
Will the commission take action tomorrow on the toll road issue?
I'm not sure, but I would say yes, since we're being asked tomorrow.
How do you feel about it? How do you feel about it personally?
Well, I'm willing to listen to both sides, and I certainly have no objection to supporting a study. And after all, there's a great deal of money involved. There's a great deal of personal feelings on both sides of the issue, and a study, even though it's expensive, certainly can't hurt the situation.
I'm quite sure to keep most of the guys. They have a halfway house in Houston, which is operated similar, or just about the same as what this one will be. And out of 280 guys that come through, only 9 of them have returned in the last 18 months.
Robert is the first Mexican American to be appointed to a DCA post of this nature and administering a $500,000 budget. What are some of your plans initially?
First of all, before we go any further, I prefer to be called a Chicano. Mexican American is out of context nowadays, and I'd rather be called a Chicano.
All right. As the first Chicano to be in a position of this nature, what are some of your plans?
Well, some of my plans at the moment is, first of all, the new OEO conflict implementation, the compliance with it at the last DCA board has tremendously affected the advisory board. It has reduced participation and membership now, and it's a matter of completely a whole restructure now.